Hello and welcome to this video. We thought we would create an entire video dedicated to the Chorda Tympani nerve, which is a branch of cranial nerve 7, the facial nerve. It's often talked about, often considered to be quite difficult to understand and appreciate. Let's talk about its functions first before we actually take a look at a model. The Chorda Tympani has two main functions. One is special sensory from the anterior 2/3 of the tongue, and on top of that it also has a parasympathetic function, and it distributes preganglionic parasympathetic fibres that are destined for the submandibular ganglion. From here, postganglionic fibres will then leave, which will head towards those salivary glands, the sublingual and the submandibular. So now it's time to move on and take a look at a plastic model. Here we're looking at a lateral view, and we can see some nerves emerging from the lateral view of the skull. We can see the external auditory meatus, that's good for orientation. We can see the mastoid process there posteriorly as well. Let's take a look at some of the nerves that we're not dealing with today, just so we can get a grasp of the surrounding anatomy and structures. So first of all, we are going to start with this at the back. This is the vagus nerve emerging from the jugular foramen. We're not too concerned with that today. That's going to go down into the neck and give off some branches to the larynx before it carries on and supplies structures in the thorax and the abdomen. The next nerve we need to talk about is this one. It is the glossopharyngeal nerve, also coming from the jugular foramen. It emerges from around the position of the styloid process, and it supplies a muscle that's attached to that structure called the stylopharyngeus. So we're not too concerned with either the vagus or the glossopharyngeal nerve today, but we are concerned with this next nerve. This is a branch of trigeminal called the mandibular nerve. It's V3. And it has two branches, the inferior alveolar and the lingual nerve, which is joined by the nerve that we want to discuss. That is, of course, the Chorda Tympani nerve emerging here in red from the petrotympanic fissure, a small fissure, and it journeys down to attach to the lingual nerve of the mandibular division of trigeminal. So the Chorda Tympani is often referred to as hitching a ride along branches of the trigeminal here to get to where it needs to go in terms of both its afferent and efferent functions. So now would be a good time to have a recap of the distribution of the facial nerve and how the Chorda Tympani branches from it. Okay, so the facial nerve leaves the brainstem and it travels into the middle ear, and there are some motor branches that will exit through a space called the stylomastoid foramen, and just before then the Chorda Tympani will branch off and pierce into the tympanic cavity, and then will descend through a space called the petrotympanic fissure, which we saw just before, and it can be best seen when it leaves that fissure and joins to travel with a branch of the trigeminal nerve, V3, the mandibular division of 5, called the lingual nerve. Okay, so that completes our rapid review of the Chorda Tympani nerve, which is a branch of cranial nerve 7, the facial nerve. Hope you found this useful. See you again soon for another Soton Brain Hub video.
Find us on Facebook, Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube channel to help explain the mysteries of the brain.